Welcome, President Trump. I would ask, how are you? But for the whole nation, this has been a complete, utter, contemptible disaster. I don't want to violate or cause you to violate your gag rule, but I don't even know what the hell the limits are to this gag rule, Mr. President. What do you make of what's happening to you right now?
It's a disaster. The judge is a disaster. You talk about somebody who's conflicted. There's never been a judge so conflicted. And it's just ruling after ruling for the other side. They have no case, but sometimes you're better off with a bad case and a great judge, and that's exactly what they have. It's a disaster for America. It's an embarrassment for America. And I think we're doing very well, but they have nothing. They don't even have a crime. They're trying to figure out what the crime is now. And I guess you probably heard they said they want to hear the instructions again. When you read them again, they take about an hour to read, and they've been made so complicated. That's, I guess, the hope. Maybe make it complicated so nobody understands what they're doing. But I'll tell you what, it is so unfair to this country, and nobody speaks about it more brilliantly than you. You are some great piece of work. I will tell you that, Mark.
Well, Mr. President, you have millions and millions of people here who are watching this, who are fed up with what's taking place. They know this war on you is a war on them and a war on this country. What is it like sitting there day in and day out, hearing these people say what they say about you, watching the rulings, watching all this? What do you make of our justice system after you're the target of the justice system?
Well, it started when I said a long time ago, right, 8 years ago almost, they spied in my campaign. You remember it? Everyone said, they spied this. Nobody. Well, it turned out I was right about that. They spied in my campaign. I fired Comey, and I got rid of him. Don't forget, I inherited Comey. I had to fire him, and I fired him very early, and I took a lot of guys with him, a lot of bad people over there. And we did a job on the deep state, and then we had to do other things. We had to do a lot of things. We did a lot of things. We built 571 miles of wall. We had the safest border in history. We had everything was good. We were doing a real job. But these people, I guess they can't forget that I won an election that we weren't supposed to win. We won a big election that we weren't supposed to win. And then, as you know, we did much better, got 12 million more votes, got millions more votes the second time, millions and millions of more votes. And I will say we'd had tremendous spirit both times, 16 and 20, but there's never been spirit like what we have now, Mark, and I'm sure you feel it too. I've never seen anything like it, and I really believe, I think I'm the same person. They like me. I always reel when they say we have two unpopular candidates, Biden and Trump. Well, I'm at 95% approval in the Republican Party. Everybody I endorse wins their election and all of that, but we have spirit, and he is unpopular, but he is really unpopular. He shouldn't. I mean, it's such an embarrassment for our country. He is the worst president in the history of our country, and Jimmy Carter is brilliant. His administration, by comparison, was brilliant. And I know you weren't a big fan, and you say the same thing. But there's never been a guy letting millions and millions of people come in to a country from countries that you don't want to know, from jails, from prisons, from mental institutions and insane asylums. They're all being emptied out. Terrorists. A very interesting fact, it was 67%, and now I understand it went up to 72% crime reduction in Venezuela. They're taking all of their criminals from Caracas and all these different places in Venezuela. They're taking their prisoners out of the jails. They're dumping them into the United States of America. It's unbelievable. It's not even believable, Mark. Not even believable.
Mr. President, the media pretend that the Biden regime's not behind this, despite all the DNA and the fingerprints. It's an amazing thing. You don't do anything, and you're charged with crimes. Biden's fingerprints and DNA are everywhere, and they pretend he's nowhere. My question to you is this. Here you are trying to run for President of the United States a second time. The Democrat Party in New York, obviously, is trying to handicap you, to cripple you.
100%.
The Democrat Party that's running the Department of Justice is trying to do the same thing. The Democrat Party in Georgia is trying to do the same thing.
Well, they're all working together, too, Mark.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're all working together. Georgia.
I think so.
Mr. Wade, the husband, I guess, Mr. Wade. I call her Fannie Wade. But Mr. Wade spent, days in the Justice Department and the White House, and I think Fannie was with him, his beautiful lover. She was with him, and they're working. Obviously, this one, who's ever seen anything like this? I'm gagged, so I can't talk about it other than to say, look who's working this case in New York. Look at it. Look who's working it. And you've covered that very well, but maybe not everybody knows. But this all comes out of the White House and comes out of DOJ. Even the civil cases. I had civil cases where I had horrible judges, horrible judges. Totally rigged stuff. I mean, nobody would believe. We're like a third world country. We have rigged courts. We have bad elections, and we have no borders. Other than that, we're doing lovely. Just incredible. We have energy prices, by the way, and inflation going through the roof. Did you look at today's inflation numbers? It's going through the roof. This guy has no clue what he's doing.
What do you want to say, apart from this trial now, and it's difficult to say anything apart from this trial, but what do you want to say about the state of the nation today, the economy and so forth, the borders?
Well, the economy, the real economy is bad, and for the middle class and for people of lower income, I don't even know how they can live. We have the highest number ever of day-to-day living, meaning if they lose a job or if they stop that little tiny stream of money coming in, they can't even live. I don't know what you do. Think of it. You miss 2 days of work and you have no money to buy food. We have the highest number that we've ever had. We have people, even if they had jobs, and remember, the jobs that they have, they're called snapback jobs. They snap back from my administration. We had the best economy in history. We had the COVID situation where, frankly, we did a great job, and we're never given. I was given great credit for rebuilding the military, for knocking out ISIS, for a lot of things, for the economy, but never got the credit for what we did. We had this dust coming over, and I always told you it was from. I told you it was from the Wuhan labs. First they blamed it on Italy and then France, and they blamed it on caves where you had bats 2,000 miles away. I said it came from Wuhan right from the beginning. But we had that, and then I turned over a country where the stock market was higher than just previous to it coming in. And it was we had an amazing country. We were energy independent. We were going to be energy dominant. We were going to be supplying all of Europe's oil and gas, and it was incredible. I stopped the Russia pipeline. They kept saying, oh, he loves Russia. I like Russia. I got along well with Putin, but he said, I'd hate like hell to have you as an enemy.
Yeah, but you didn't love Iran. You didn't fund Iran.
Well, yeah, right. That's right. Yeah. Iran was a big one. I wouldn't let anybody buy. You buy oil from Iran, you can't do business with the United States. Iran was broke. I stopped China. They didn't buy one barrel of oil. I stopped every country from doing business. They had no money. They were broke. You wouldn't have had October 7th, which is a big love for you, the whole Israel thing that you love so much, right? You love Israel, and I understand that, and I do too. Look, I've been the best president ever for Israel.
Yes, you have.
And in Israel, they do love me. Here, I don't get.
Yes, they do.
Nearly, I just don't understand how a Democrat can vote for a guy like crooked Joe Biden. I don't understand. If you're a Democrat and you happen to be Israeli, or if you're any person
or Jewish,
and you happen to be Israeli or love Israel or be Jewish, how can you vote for this guy?
I'm Jewish, and I'll never vote for this guy. I never would anyway, but some people put their party ahead of everything else, Mr. President. That's the problem. But that said,
I think it's habit, Mark. I actually think it's habit. It's like, you'll have a soda that doesn't taste good, but you keep drinking it, right? It's like crazy. But I do believe it's habit. But you look, within Israel, I think I'm 98% inside of Israel. And with the conservative vote, the Hasidic vote, I'm at like the highest numbers any
they love
time
you.
Anybody. But when you have a lot of people, and I say it all the time, you have Jewish people in this country that do not like Israel, and maybe beyond that.
I can name a whole bunch of them,
and they're even protesting. They become Palestinians. They even protest because those protesters, they come from someplace.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. It's crazy when you look at what's going on.
As a personal note for the audience, you and I, it's amazing when we sit down and eat, isn't it? Do you still eat what I eat? Do I still eat what you eat? That is, we like our steaks well done.
I think we have the same habit, right?
Yes.
We eat food that
We should.
Some people would say it's not the healthiest food, but we're still kicking, and a lot of people aren't, right? You know. Hey, Mark, they tell me all the time, oh, you should do this, don't eat this, don't eat that. In the meantime, they're trying to recover from the worst of problems. And here we go. We just keep chugging along, right? So I don't know. Who knows what's good? Hey, Mark, who knows what's good? Maybe the stuff that's bad is really the stuff that's good, right? That's
all
what,
I know is
that's
I
what
like
you
it.
and I hope, anyway.
Yes. And how's the family doing through all this? The First Lady?
Hey, good. I mean, look, it's a nasty thing. These are nasty people. These are fascists. I don't even believe it's really Biden so much because I don't think he's smart enough to know what the hell's going on. I really don't. But he's got to approve it. But it's his people that surround him on that beautiful Resolute desk in the Oval Office, and they are nasty people. They're bad people, and probably hate our country. Probably they hate our country. Anybody that allows millions of people to come into our country totally unchecked. I mean, like, they're just walking in now by the millions. And, that to me is well, the biggest problem is nuclear, because the nuclear power is so great today that, and we have a man negotiating with Putin and President Xi of China that I don't think he can read or write.
They eat his lunch.
I can't put two sentences together. It's terrible. And I know these people. I know them very well. They're at the top of their games. And Biden is just not the right person. Look, Ukraine would have never happened. The attack on Israel would have never happened. And remember, and this was a Democrat that said it on Deface the Nation a couple of weeks ago, actually. I saw it, another one. A Democrat congressman said, well, whether you like Trump or not, Iran was broke under Trump. They were broke. They were ready to make a deal. We would have had a deal within a week after the election. But then this guy came in, took off all the sanctions, took off everything, and China went back to buying their millions of barrels of oil, millions and millions and millions of barrels. And Iran is now rich, and they've also taken over, as you know, Iraq. Another brilliant move. They go in, we blow the hell out of. These are two nations that were similar in military strength, and they fought each other for centuries, essentially, under different names, religious. And they'd move it 1 foot, 2 feet, then back, they'd fight. But it was too equal. And then we blow up one of them, and now they have. So they have, and you don't know what a big. Remember, I used to say, don't go into, but I said it as a civilian.
I remember.
Said, don't go into Iraq, but if you do, keep the oil. Well, they went in, and they didn't keep the oil. Iraq has $350 billion in cash, and it's like a subsidiary of Iran. In other words, we did the job that Iran's been trying to do, or meaning that section has been trying to do for 1,000 years. We did the job. We blew them up. We blew up one of the two powers. And so now you have a big power in the Middle East. You don't have two. They were checking each other. What a shame. What a shame. That was a Republican president that did that.
What do you want to tell hardworking Americans, some of whom usually vote Democrats, union, non-union, blue-collar workers? I've been calling you the blue-collar billionaire. What do you want to tell them? Why should they vote for you other than Biden, who claims to be the greatest union president in American history?
So we got the most votes, and this is acknowledged by the other side. This isn't me. We got more votes than any sitting president in history, and we lost, okay? I was told if we got 63 million, which is what I got in 2016, I said you can't lose, and we got close to 75 million votes. We got much more than that, but that's what they say. That's more than any sitting president in history. And just to go, before I totally give you that beautiful answer, if I didn't, I wouldn't have run. If I really thought I lost the election, I wouldn't have run, because I would have lost. I was, there's something missing. But we won by tremendous numbers. I want to make America great again. It's very simple. We had it going so good. It was so good. The reason I'm leading by so much now, Mark, is because people remember back 4 and 5 years ago. They remember where we had the best employment numbers ever. There's never been numbers like that. We had the best economy ever. We rebuilt our military. I got the largest tax cuts in history, the largest regulation cuts in history. This place was humming. And by the way, so often I'm asked, can we ever get together as a country, get along, meaning the left and the right? And I used to sort of say no. And then just before COVID coming in, I had a meeting with pollsters, people that Fabrizio and John McLaughlin, both of them. And They said if George Washington and Abraham Lincoln came back from the dead and they ran, they couldn't beat you. They wouldn't even come close. We were so good. And we were good when we finished it up, but we were there's never been a country so strong and so good as us. And people were coming up from the radical left, wanting to meet, wanting to get together. I'm telling you, the country was coming together. Mm-hmm. COVID spread that out. We had to go back. We had to do things. Otherwise, we would have lost the country. I mean, literally, we would have lost the country. We would have had a depression, the likes of which nobody's ever seen before. But COVID, you go up to that point, everybody, Mark, it was happening. And now I have that expression, success will bring this country together. And we're going to have great success. We're going to drill, baby, drill. We're going to do there's so many things that we could do. You know, we have more liquid gold under our feet than any other country, including Saudi Arabia and including Russia. And we're going to use that. We're going to pay down debt. We're going to cut taxes even further. You know, I gave the biggest tax cut in history and
regulation cut. Hold on 1 second. Biggest
Mr.
tax cut in history. Can we blow through this commercial?
We did more revenue the following year by a lot than we did with the higher taxes.
We're going to blow through this commercial, whether I'm allowed to or not.
But it does. People were they were incentivized, and they were doing great. So we're going to make our country, to answer your question, we're going to make our country great again, and we're going to do it fast. A big problem is these millions of people that this horrible, horrible president is allowing into our country. He's allowing them in from all over the world. They're coming in from the Congo in Africa, came in the other night, a big load from the Congo, and prisons in the Congo. But they're coming in, and nobody's ever seen anything like it. They're coming in from Africa, from Asia, from the Middle East, and from South America, all over South America. And they're coming in from prisons, and they're coming in from mental institutions, and many, many terrorists are coming in, record levels, and human traffickers. They're destroying the fabric of our country. And then when I say that, they say, oh, he's racist, he's racist. That's all they're good at is misinformation and disinformation. That's all they're good at, and cheating on elections, frankly.
Now, Mr. President, when you say America, you're talking about all Americans, black, white, brown, whatever. It's not just white Americans,
well,
so you're saying...
Look what I had. I had a rally in the Bronx the other day.
Yeah.
I had 25,000 people at least. They couldn't even get into the park. They had more people that couldn't get in than got in. You couldn't they couldn't let them in. Too many people. It was so beautiful, Mark. It was love. And it was black, white. It was brown. It was everything was there. Everybody was there. It was a beautiful thing to see. And there wasn't one heckler. I didn't have one heckle. An hour and a half speech, maybe more than that in the sun. It was hot. And not one heckler, not one screaming out something obscene like happens sometimes. It was love. It was a love fest. All different people from different parts of the world. And it was, I mean, I'm sure that you commented on it. It was a beautiful thing to see. And you take a look at Biden today. While I'm in the Biden, show trial, it's all started by him. It's all Biden stuff. He's in Philadelphia campaigning. Nobody showed up. He's in this little basketball arena. Nobody. It's lucky they have a few students in the school. They were the only ones he's speaking before these little kids. The whole thing is crazy, but nobody showed up. There's no spirit, and the reason we're so ahead in the polls is because people remember what we had 4 or 5 years ago. They remember. We can have it again.
Well, Mr. President, I know I speak for everybody listening here. We wish you all the best. We're watching what's going on, what's being done to you, and we will not be deterred under any circumstances. As a matter of fact, we're going to be empowered by the whole damn thing. We don't care what the media say. We don't care what your enemies say. We know right from wrong and good from evil. And I want to say God bless to you and to your family. And thank you for what you're doing. I'm sorry you're having to go through this.
Well, thank you very much, and say hello to Julie and everybody. You're an incredible voice. You don't even know how important your voice is. Your voice is so powerful, and just keep it up. You're a very, very big factor in this country, and I appreciate it. Thank you, Mark.
You're very kind. God bless you. God bless you.